Hi there, and welcome to Naturally Recovering Autism. I am your host, Karen Thomas, and I want to thank you so much for being here and being a proactive parent and getting the resources that you need to help your child get better. Because we know that children with autism can improve in their health and their speech and their ability to sleep and their immune system and their ability to control their moods and behaviors. And we want them to have the best, most fulfilling life possible. And that's what we're here to do, is share resources with you and support, because I know support is so important. And as you know, my own son was once diagnosed with autism, and I was told to drug him and try behavioral therapies, and that there would be nothing we could really do for him but manage his symptoms the rest of his life, and that was it. But fortunately, my background as a craniosacral therapist did let me know that the brain can and does heal. It is a scientific fact. But I didn't know that much about autism at the time. And so I began my own research, and I quickly found out, and I'm sure that you likely have too, as a parent of a child with autism, it really is up to you to become educated in the right resources, and that you're doing the work to get your child to their optimum results. So I did my own research, and 10 years later, it's been now 14 years, but 10 years afterwards, my son is no longer even diagnosable with autism. And people ask me, can that really happen? Or, oh, it happened for you, but can it happen for others? And I had so many parents asking me what I did and if I could, and that telling me how overwhelmed they were, and they just wanted me to lead them through it. So I did create my membership program where I walk parents, now in over 43 countries, I walk parents through these steps. And today I'm very excited to have a guest on the show who is one of my members and is someone who has taken her child from a diagnosis of autism about 2 years ago, where he only had 2-word sentences at the most. Now she has just gotten a report from following the diligence in the program and the steps and doing the work herself. She has brought her own son to recovery, and actually gotten a report from actually telling her that he is no longer diagnosable. Now, I do want to always put the caveat out there that we know every child's level of recovery is different, but they can improve. And that's what we want, is to give our kids the best possible chance at the best possible results. So I would like to introduce Diana to you. And Diana, thank you so much for being here with us today. I think that your story is another inspiration to show parents that it can happen for multiple people. You know, people think, oh, well, Karen, and maybe it just happened for you. But now what I'm capable of showing other people, you are capable of taking to the best level and doing what you've done for your son.
Thank you, Karen.
So why don't we just start from the beginning? So maybe tell our listeners, how long ago your child was diagnosed, and just kind of from the beginning, what his symptoms were. What made you even go to get a diagnosis?
Yeah, thank you so much, Karen. And I'm so super excited to be in this program today because I have an incredible story to talk about my son. It started as very devastating, but it ended as joy and tears of joy. And today I'm so excited to give that story about the journey of recovery of my son from autism symptoms and to him becoming like a normal child and going to a regular school. So it started way back when my child was, I think was 3 months, 2.5, not 3 months, 2.5 years is when my doctor said that my child has speech delay and he needed to go for special assessment. So he was tested. We took him for assessment and he was diagnosed with, that was 2015. He was diagnosed with severe speech delay. And to me, I didn't know anything about autism disorder at that time. Though I'm in public health, that was something very great to me. So he was diagnosed with that, and we tried all means and possible to get him into the speech therapy programs. But he wasn't improving. His speech was not improving at all. And in 2018, when my son was, I think he was 5 years old that time, he was 5 years old that time, is when I took him for assessment for autism spectrum disorder assessment, recommended by the doctor. I had been booked by the doctor and I had to wait for almost 1 year to get the appointment through. So in April 2018, I took him for the appointment at the specialist hospital here, and he was diagnosed with autism disorder. What is this called? Autism spectrum disorder um, issues, actually related issues. And to me, it was very devastating. At that time, he was only having a 2-word sentence at the age of 5. He used to tell me, "Mommy, milk, mommy, water," and that's it. So when he was diagnosed, he actually showed all the symptoms of an autism child. He wasn't talking well on a 2-word sentence. He was not socializing with any child. Anytime I took him out, even to play with other kids, he just used to hang around me, just holding my holding me my back, because he didn't want me to leave him. He was so scared, intimidated. He was a very picky eater. He was eating only one type of food and one type of fruit. He used to scream a lot. Oh, I used to cry. I used to hide myself and cry. He used to scream and show some very funny behavior, and he wasn't sleeping well. He used to wake up every night, and I would stay up late with him trying to make him sleep. And he was having lots of tantrums, like really tantrums. He used to cry and all that. And I didn't know what to do. I was just there. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah, it's pretty challenging when you get the diagnosis, but also just to know that your child, I remember that feeling too, of knowing they're obviously screaming in tantrums, and because something is making them seriously uncomfortable, whether it's anxiety or fear, and you think, well, what is it that's causing these problems? And that they have immune issues, and you're thinking as a parent, what can I do? So what did you do from there? You got this diagnosis, and he was having all of these symptoms that you were dealing with at home. So where did you go from there?
What happened is that when I got the tests, I went home, I cried a lot. And my husband, I remember that day he left home. He just went for a walk and came back later. I am a researcher, a public health researcher by profession. So I went online. I started researching. I also have some background in nutrition in my first degree. So I knew somehow there should be there should be an intervention on this. I went researching, autism, like this, so autism spectrum disorder, blah, blah, nutrition, programs, interventionist, and all that. And that's how I landed on Karen Thomas. I just landed on that. Autism like disorder interventions, North America, because I'm in North America, here in Canada. And I landed on the name Catherine, Karen Thomas, and your program, Karen, just popped up on my computer. Sometimes I just say it's God. It popped up, the Autism Mom Mentors Program, Karen Thomas. And I clicked that. I saw Karen's name. I saw the email, and I sent her an email right away without thinking. I said, blah, blah, I saw your name. I am so devastated. I am very desperate, and all that. And Karen wrote back to me. She was not taking new members that time. She just told me the program is closed now. We're not taking any new members, but I'll get back to you as soon as the program is open. And for sure, she kept her word. And then she got back to me, and that's how I entered into the program.
And I'm wondering too, when I would like you to share, because some people come into this skeptical, and I know that you did it originally a little bit, and so that's totally okay. I would like you to share that part. Like, we had some interactions with some emails. You'd asked me some questions. You even told me once you thought it sounded like a hoax, which is totally fine, because that's good, because some parents listening are thinking, really, and you were in that place at one point. So maybe share, a little bit of the back and forth and the emails, and then what kind of made you sort of turn the corner where you thought, well, okay, I started believing more and more, of the things that I was sharing with you, because you went and researched them for yourself to validate, make sure that what I was saying was true. and then came back, and then at one point you finally joined the program. So maybe just share that experience a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, Karen. Just to let you know, and the listeners here today, that I am one person who don't just jump into anything because of my profession. I am a public health professional. I am a researcher. I believe in preventive health, and I know that there's something everyone can do to prevent any kind of health condition from going worse, or even to prevent that health condition from setting in the first place. So when my child was diagnosed with autism disorder symptoms, I went online. I was looking for any program that can help me, like address that disorder or even clear it altogether. And I got lots of programs, like really lots of programs. I lots of nutrition therapy programs and all that, lots of protocols. But I researched a lot. I did a critique of each program. So when I talked to Karen, I asked her so many questions. The first thing I thought about Autism-Lyme Mentors program was that it's a hoax, it's a scam, it's just there to ripple people's money. It doesn't work and all that like any other parent. And I said that as desperate as I am not going to allow myself to enter into a scam. And so I kept on asking, communicating with Karen, asking her every question that I had in mind, because I really wanted to get it right before I enter into that program. And by the way, Karen, every time you answered me, I went online. Sometimes you would answer me when I'm Googling. Anything you told me, you tell me about this supplement, I Google it when I'm talking to you, so that I'm able to tell exactly whether whatever you are, to validate, the information that you're giving me. And every time I talked to Karen, I was writing notes. After I finished my conversation with Karen, I would go online and validate that information. And the other thing I did was to go online and to find out the review of Autism-Lyme Mentors program. I wanted to know the beauty, to get the beauty and the ugly, anything related to that program, because I really wanted to get it right. And all that pointed to success, a success program. And Karen took her bother to call me. One time I remember she called me and we chatted for a long time. And I was asking her so many questions, so many questions. So finally, myself, with my own research, besides what Karen was giving me, I just researched and validated the information that is on the website of Karen, and that made me register to the program. It gave me courage, and I also looked at some of the testimonials. I said, really, if one testimonial is made up, she cannot make all these testimonials. So there are quite a number of testimonials on her website that time. So I was reading all of them, and I was saying that even if she's changing some testimonials, I don't think she can change all these. And in any case, as a parent and someone who really believes in knowledge, I say that all this information about the program cannot be a hoax. And that's what gave me courage to enter into the program. The other thing was Karen shares her testimonial about her son online. And I said, really, if it wasn't true, why would she take her bother to expose her son and even to write a story that is false? Even the son will stand up one day and tell her, Mommy, what you're saying is wrong. That testimony about Karen's experience of curing her son from autism gave me a lot of motivation to enter into the program.
Yeah, I think actually having a personal story of my own and having a connection to it, that I've actually lived it. I've gone through it. I've gone through the picky eating transition, which is challenging. The found the right supplements, weeded out, 95% of what's out there is just so much junk and not right for our kids, and found what was right. And I really, when I'm walking parents through this path, I am with you. I mean, I really understand it. I'm not just somebody in a white coat saying, okay, we'll take this supplement, take this. I understand what you're going through emotionally. And why don't you said, Diana, that it gave you courage. And I love that we're looking for support, but also the confidence can wane at times. Like, you really have that belief and that faith that, yes, I'm going to find answers to get my child better, whatever that is. But there are times when we definitely have that courage waning, and that confidence, is weaker, and we need to build that. So I'm so happy that just knowing that when you researched what I was telling you, that it validated things, and it gave you the sense of courage so that you could then take the next step. So what was your next step after that? You started the program, yeah, and then how was the transition? I know you said your child was a picky eater, and some of the tantrums, and so what was his path what was your path with walking him through the steps?
Yeah, sure. So the first step I took was after I was convinced that this is the right program for me. I registered. I registered for the program, and I said, as a mother, if there's anything I would want to do for my son is to stand with him and to walk with him and to do what it takes to to help him get better. So I registered to the program, and I was able to connect all the other moms who are in the same boat with me. And then the program has it is a program actually. It has steps, step by step, and instructions on what to do. One of the things I wanted to do, and I told myself, I promised myself, is that I am going to follow this program religiously, step by step. So I followed that program step by step. The first step of that program, because I joined the program in May 2018, the first 3 months was to I can't remember what the first 3 months was, but I remember there was a special diet that you were to give. I was to give the child. I gave my child. I followed. I followed the instructions that needed. That I followed the instructions for the first 3 months. A kind of a special diet. I can't remember what it is, and then some supplements. So I bought the supplements, and I followed. Yeah, I remember. It says that you keep off any food that could facilitate the condition. So I kept off my son free from casein, free from gluten, and also free from any toxins. So I put my son on gluten-free and casein-free diet, and also organic diet. That is one of the first recommendations from Karen. I did that, and also avoiding sugars and avoiding oxalates and all that. For the first 3 months, I did that. I followed the program religiously. And believe me, after 3 months, that was May, June, July, August. In August, after 3 months, when I started the program, my son started talking. He started talking. You'll not believe that. He started talking. And the diet worked so much. He started talking. He started eating some of the foods that he was not eating. Those were the first results that I got. I was so excited.
So it was about 3 months before he really started switching over to, I give a whole list of food you can have, and then the foods to avoid. So the good foods, he started eating some of the good foods. It took up to 3 months to really transition him into where his picky eating got a lot better. Is that what you're saying too?
Yes.
Okay. Just so parents have some timeline. Some kids will start it, in a few weeks, and other kids 3 months. So it's great to know that it was actually a longer period of time because you stuck with it. And that's what's so important, Diane, is that you didn't give up. And I know that it gets challenging at times, but you just kept going with it. And it's a slow transitional process. So you started giving this. So he started talking. I remember when you wrote me that the first time, I was so happy. And so he started talking, and then what happened? What else happened for him? Changes did you notice?
So he started talking, he started eating all these kinds of food. He stopped the tantrums and he stopped screaming. Oh my God. I used to be so depressed by his screams. He stopped screaming and he started like showing interest with other kids. He started socializing. I remember in July, even 3 months or over in July, that was summer. I started taking him to play with some of my friends. My son started playing and talking with those kids and being there without me. So I just used to go visit the mom and stay there, and he would go out and just hang out with other kids without me. And the sleeping got better. He would sleep almost half the night, and then he would wake up just once in a night, like when you want to go pee. And what else got? Yeah, he just started getting better. Like I started gaining hope and seeing that something new has happened to my child, and that happy look that he used to have on his face kind of faded. So he wasn't communicating really, but he would talk to me. I would ask him, what's this, what that, and he would reply. And whenever I needed food, he would tell me, mommy, I want food. And yeah, he got more vocabularies, more words, and all that.
I remember you told me that I think now you've said he said he's literally speaking endlessly, that he will read to you and you and his dad, and they will, that he'll, if you're talking, he'll say, he'll even interrupt and say, "Mom, listen to me," or he wants to read you stories. And so he's you even said chatty, like he's very verbal now. He's not just got a couple of words. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was talking about then. That was August 2018. Now it's a different story. My son it's like a regular child. You wouldn't even know that he used to have any problem. My son speaks like anyone. He challenges me. Last night I was reading for him, and he said, "No, mommy, that's not what I want to read today." Well, his first day of school was yesterday, grade one, and he came back home, and he was giving us the stories of the school. He's gone to a regular program, so it's a long story. But as today, all the symptoms of autism, what I talked about, they are all gone, nothing. And the report that I got, which I shared with Karen, it's actually a clinical evaluation from a specialist who deals with such cases. It shows that my son is above. Let me just read. It shows that my son evaluation shows that he meets the criteria for age, and he actually is above. He's above his in the criteria that they were assessing. He's above his age. Most of the components were assessing. My son, it shows that he's above his age. So he's okay. He's good.
That's
I have a report here from a specialist, a clinical report from a specialist.
Wow. Wow. So even more so than your own validation of seeing his changes, you've got this actual report from an autism specialist now. And the most important part, I would imagine, for you, Diana, is seeing your child being able to go to school and have a regular day and come home and be excited and tell you about it, to be able to communicate with you easily and effortlessly, and to be able to, he's calm now. I mean, a lot of people don't realize how many of these issues of autism are really the inflammation and the toxins and just biological, that are affecting their brain and their ability. And as you're mentioning too, our kids are brilliant, but they can't even be themselves and express their brilliance when they have all of these toxins and this inflammation in the way. And so now it sounds like your son, once before maybe wasn't able to do, most of the things he can do now, and now he's actually showing above average grade level. And we see that a lot with autism. These kids are so smart, and they sometimes can't even test or think clearly until you get all of this out. So now she's functioning at even above grade level. That's incredible.
Yeah, and it has been a long story. It has been a long journey, Karen. After after in 2018, after the 3 months when I followed the first stage of recovery, I followed the program. I worked with Karen step by step. I went to the phase two of his recovery. I gave my son all the recommended supplements. And then after that, Karen recommends natural doctors. She has a list of natural doctors on the program. I was very lucky to contact one of them here in Edmonton, and he's a very great natural doctor. He's called Dr. Mason. So he did lots of tests, the tests that Karen had recommended. I went there, he did lots of tests. And from the test, he recommended liver detox, which is recommended by Karen's program. We did a liver detox. We did the detox in April 2019, last year. After the liver detox, I saw like something just came out of my son. his speech improved so much. His communication, not just the speech, but communication. After that 1 month leave and detox, his communication just improved. He was able to communicate with me. And then his sleeping, the bit of sleep that was not completely done, he started sleeping well. And I saw a lot of changes. You know, my son used to have an issue with the focus. He never used to focus on any pay attention or focus on it. He was easily distracted and all that. That changed after detox. And then the doctor also did a heavy metal test. He was tested, and he had, oh my God, he had heavy metals in his blood. He had what is it called? Mercury. He had like 3 heavy metals in his shown in his blood in that test. So I started the heavy metal detox. I did it from June to September 2019. It was step by step. I followed the instructions from the natural doctor, and the natural doctor, whatever he did was really consistent with what Karen and saying in her program, because I was still in the program. So I did heavy metal detox from June 2019 to September. And another one, that was another milestone. In fact, I went to the doctor and I told him, I don't know what I'm seeing. Can you look at my son and see? You know, I wanted him to observe and have a second opinion, because I didn't want my excitement to
Mhm.
kind of deceive me. And he told me, yeah, what you're seeing is what I'm seeing. Your son is gotten better. He's like a normal child now. He's talking, he's doing everything. He was communicating. He was really talking nicely with the doctor and with the ladies at the reception of the doctor's office and all that. So I went on, and then more supplements were recommended to me. So I just kept on moving with the program, with the current program, step by step. One of the things that I've been very cautious about to date, Karen, is avoiding oxalates. You know, oxalates,
Mhm.
foods.
Yeah.
I've been very, very careful on that. My son, I don't give him food that is more than 1 day old, because that's what Karen recommends. I cook tonight, like what I made last night. He's going to take it for lunch today and for dinner. Any remains are going to be leftovers for us, but not for him. So I'm really careful about oxalates, about spinach and kale, like boiling them and throwing the water. After the water boils, just throwing that water. Like I've been so careful, very, very careful. He's still on casein free and gluten free and organic diet all along. It's expensive, but it's worth. For me, it's worth. So my son has been going through phases of recovery. Until last year, he was in a special needs program in kindergarten, and he did very well. His results, his end of year term report was very positive. So this year, yesterday, he started grade 1, and he's in a regular program. The teacher said, "Oh, because he's a new teacher, I told him, oh, he was in a special kids, special needs program last year." He says, "Ooh, this boy," he couldn't believe, because she's a different teacher. So my child, from my own observation as a mother, he's completely changed. I've forgotten that he was having all those issues.
Mhm.
Completely changed, yeah, completely changed.
I can hear the excitement in your voice. It's so uplifting to hear it, and I know it's helping a lot of other parents that are listening as well. And I remember that too with my own son, even now thinking, boy, it's hard to remember some of the things that he was going through until I think about it. And aren't you grateful that you kept on looking for research and that you decided to, thankfully, I'm grateful that you came into the program and you followed the steps, like you said, religiously, because there are a lot of pieces to it. In fact, I want to make sure for the listeners that you're probably eager to know what we do. And I kind of call it the 4 stages. We go through all of the aspects of healing the gut. Quite a bit to it, but I walk you through those steps. Then it's natural and safe heavy metal detoxification. Then there are clearing the co-infections like mold and Lyme and strep. things that are these underlying infections that can keep our kids sick, even if we've got them on a great diet and we've done some detox. Need to understand more there and making sure their body is supported during detoxification. And then at the end, you can do some brain support and repair if they're needing it still, where some kids do and some kids don't afterwards, because once those toxins and inflammation are out of the way, then again, like you're hearing Diana share, your child can be who they are and they don't have all of this stuff in their way. And so that's what we're here to share with you. I do have a free live event coming up in a few weeks, and I want to make sure that you know about it. But if you're eager now, and I would like you to get on my email list by going to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/7 foods, the number 7 and foods, and that will give you the top 7 foods to eliminate from your child's diet today, to begin reducing their symptoms of autism. And then you'll get that free download for that, and it explains more about those foods as well. And of course, Healing the Gut has more to it. And this diet transition, you'll find, as we've mentioned, the picky eating, it's a slow transition into the good foods. But now you'll know a little bit more about why you don't want to eat those foods. And then again, once you're on my email list from that, it will give you the availability to get my notifications when I have these live virtual free events that I do periodically that are really informative. And that's when I open enrollment up for the program. So if you're interested, again, the link to get to the foods guide is naturallyrecoveringautism.com/7 foods. It's just the number 7 and no spaces between the number 7 and foods. So Diana, thank you so much too for being here. And I hear your excitement, but I'd also like you to, how has it changed your life having your son? How's your stress level, your confidence, your sense of freedom, and what's it done for you? And to know he's going to be having a productive and fulfilling adult life.
Oh man, I spent so much time with my son. I stood with him all along. I went places with him, even when I was taking him to play with the kids. I stayed somewhere just for him to feel that he's safe. And that really gave him confidence. And my son is so close to me now. I used to cry a lot. I was so depressed. Remember that time, Karen, I didn't want you to mention my name.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have no problem with my name being mentioned. I was feeling so embarrassed that time. But now I have so much confidence. I feel that I've achieved a lot. I have a story to tell, and my son can believe in me. I spent a lot that time. For 2 years I spent. Now my expenses on my son have come low.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not doing the same thing, but because I'm not doing, I'm able to, I've seen the change, so I'm able to follow that, well, without having any problem. So it has helped me, even communication with my husband, because he has seen the change in my son. He believes in me better. My relationship with my family has gotten better. They're always praising my son and saying that, wow, this program works so well. So it has been great, and I feel better. I am able to relate with many people. Before, I never used to go with my son in places because I didn't want people to see him like he's not able to do things. Now I go anywhere freely with my son.
Yeah, going out in public can be pretty challenging. So then the parents become very isolated too. And a lot of people in public, most people we were actually told by therapists, that it was our fault that our son behaved the way he is. They actually told us, this is more than one of them said, if you were stronger with consequences and you were just firmer discipline, he wouldn't be behaving this way. And I thought, wow, they were not autism specialists. And that's what you get when you're in public. People are looking at you like, can't you just control your kid? This judgment and thing, and then they can have these behavioral outbursts, which can be frightening for one, and they can be just, it becomes so challenging to take them out. So it's great. I mean, and now it becomes so enjoyable to take them out, and you can have fun with them, and they're so engaging and really fun to be with, and it's just nice to know that they're happy, but they're also really healthy as well. So is there anything else you'd like to share, Diana, before we wrap up?
Yeah, for sure. I just wanted to mention that my son whenever we go and my son is with other kids, is the leader. He becomes automatically the leader to the other kids. And the teachers have confirmed that when he's among his peers, he seemed to take the leadership role. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that my son was diagnosed with low iron levels, low calcium, and low vitamin C. When a child doesn't have those three, it's like an empty can, you know. The low calcium level and iron is what was making him have fine motor skills issues, because his bones were very weak. And then iron, the issue of blood circulation and all that was affecting his brain. That's what the natural doctor said, and that's what current program explains, and that's what I know as a public health professional. So when he was diagnosed with low calcium, low iron, and low vitamin C, vitamin C helps in absorption of iron. So even if you supplement with iron and you're not supplementing vitamin C, that doesn't work very well. I say this as an authority in public health. So I was able to supplement that iron, calcium, iron, and vitamin C. And that has really helped. When I did supplementation as recommended by Karen, and I was buying natural products, I never went to the counter. I was getting that, what is recommended by Karen. And when it's not here where I am, I would go to the natural doctor and he was able to buy that for me. When we did that, the fine motor skills improved a great deal, and also the brain kind of changed. And we went for the second a test. We went last year in October to test the iron levels again. That is the post test. We found that the iron levels and stabilized, the calcium level and stabilized, and the vitamin C level and stabilized. And from that time, his fine motor skills improved a great deal, and his focus and brain problems also improved. To me, as parents, it's so important that even as you follow Karen Thomas program, you also need to go down and do a bit of research on your own, read books, and then compare and follow the program with at least informed mind, because that's what I did. Because that way you are going to supplement what you're getting from Karen Thomas. The other thing I would like to mention to them is that when you follow that program, please follow it religiously. Go from stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and most important, when the child is at recovery stage, like my son now, you still need to follow the program. I still do what needs to be done. I haven't got out of the program. I am still following that, because we need to sustain the recovery. And also keeping in touch with Karen in case you get stuck. Just keep in touch with the other months of the program. Post there in case you have a challenge, or talk to Karen. Send an email if you think it's something that is you don't want to post. Just send an email to Karen and communicate. Just keep in touch, and don't be ashamed of yourself. This is just something that is going to pass by. Be strong and do what you can, and leave the rest to God.
Thank you so much for that, Diana. I think it is so kind of you to say all of those nice words, and also to not be ashamed and be able to help parents move forward, not take any personal blame for anything that has happened, but definitely becoming educated and informed is the key. And I appreciate you saying to follow the program religiously, because those are the people who absolutely get the best results, as they are following it step by step. And as you mentioned, we have a forum inside the program where the members can ask their questions along the way, if they have them as they come up. And so that gives access to me answering those questions, but also to the community of other parents in there as well. So it's a really nice support system. And yeah, again, thank you. I appreciate, honestly, Diana, what you have done, doing your due diligence, your education, and doing all of the steps, and making sure that you have gotten your child as best they can be. And as you mentioned, now you're still in the program, being able to make sure that you have the support system. So if questions come up, you have that, but also knowing that you want to maintain what's the maintenance, you want to sustain the results that you've made. And so that's important too, because it's about also, as you mentioned in the beginning of this this show that it's so much about prevention and how important prevention is as well. So once we get our kids better, we want to make sure that we are keeping them healthy. I have multiple parents who have come in whose children have been in and out of the hospital constantly and just dosed up with antibiotics, and they never really get answers. They're never working with the causes of the problems. And so that's when they come to the program and they're like, my child hasn't even been sick with a cold for, almost a year, kind of thing. And that's the differences that it can make in their health. And our kids deserve a chance, the best chance, just like anybody else does. So, and it's really the parents. So that are really the heroes. And I commend you, Diana, for everything you've done for your son. And now you can look at him and he's your little success story. So thank you again for being here today. Really appreciate it. And to anybody listening again, my free foods guide is at naturallyrecoveringautism.com/7foods. My website's at naturallyrecoveringautism.com. And there's a lot of great resources for you there as well. And thanks for being here. Thanks for doing what you're doing for your child and being here to get educated, and more resources as well. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.